We just heard from Brian Cashman, the Yankee GM. David Stearn, the head of baseball with the Mets, also spoke today at the GM meetings in San Antonio. And he anticipates the Mets will again target short-term players.
I would say I think it's always going to be part of our strategy. There are likely generally going to be players on shorter-term deals that we think are good players, and maybe they're coming off of an injury, or maybe they're coming off of a team that used them a little bit differently, or maybe they're coming off of just a down performance year, and we feel like we want to give them a shot. And a lot of times it's in the best interest of that player to take a shorter term deal, so that he may be able to rebuild his value and go on and get a longer term deal after a successful season. So I think that's always going to be part of our offseason approach. There are certain years where it may not be exclusively our offseason approach, but I would expect it to be a part of it.
Also, a lot of people are asking about Jeff McNeil. Where does he fit into the Mets offseason plans?
Well, the great thing about Jeff is he can play a bunch of different positions. And for the majority of this year, he was our regular second baseman. I'd be comfortable with him in that role again. If we need to flex him somewhere else, we'll cross that bridge as well.
So he didn't really say what he's going to do with him. I don't think they would mind getting rid of that salary. Especially if they bring back Iglesias, he could play that position. So I think there's a lot of moving parts with the Mets too, Don. I think that you could look at Vientos and put him at first base and get yourself a third baseman. So there are third basemen that are out there. Bregman, if the Mets want to go that deep and that expensive at that position. So there's a lot of things they could do. And if you look at their payroll, Don, their payroll right now, about $130 million. So they are in great shape money-wise.
Yeah. Now, you could tell, like, Stearns came from a smaller market, so he's got that philosophy of don't lock up into long-term contracts that don't age well. But I'm not really in love with the philosophy of just always signing guys to 1 or 2 year deals. Those are scraps. Yeah, every once in a while you'll run into somebody that's really motivated and you get a great season out of them. But a lot of the times, Michael, it's just not very good. I don't want to lose out on free agents because he only wants to give a 1 or 2 year deal, and the guy who could completely be capable of playing for the Mets goes sign someplace else for 3 or 4. I mean,
but that's not the guy he's giving a short-term deal to. He's giving the short-term deal to the guy that has to reestablish his value. I think Soto's going to get a 12, 13-year
right,
offer.
Exactly. But I don't want to build the whole team around a bunch of guys that are on expiring contracts. I understood it this year because they were going to go big game hunting this offseason. So they actually caught lightning in a bottle. They got a lot out of those players. But, and I get it, if there's somebody like J.D. Martinez made sense. Right? I mean, he was a guy that you needed a DH. You waited till the last minute. You were able to sign him on your terms. That makes sense. But, if you're in it to win it now, then I would like, there might be certain players that you're not going to give extra to. But I also would like to see them, if they find somebody they really want to bring in, that they don't play that whole dance of 1 or 2 years. You're going to lose out on a lot of guys that way.